Celtic still filled the old Boston Garden in the 1970s with John Havlicek, Dave Cowens, and JoJo White as caretakers of the dynasty. In 1974, coach Tommy Heinsohn led Boston to its 12th NBA championship. In 1976, Lucky 13 looked like a sure thing, as the team that had practically written the history of the NBA would take on a team that had contributed only a curious footnote. When the Phoenix Suns joined the NBA in 1969, they took part in a coin toss to see who would get the first pick in the draft. The prize was Lou Alcindor, later Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
I call heads. The coin has come up tails.
Within 2 years, Kareem had brought a championship to Milwaukee. The Suns got Neil Walk and 8 years of heartache. Then in '76, their fortunes changed. In the playoffs, rookie Alvin Adams and former Celtic guard Paul Westphal led Phoenix past the defending NBA champions.
The Phoenix Suns beat the Golden State Warriors 94-86 to win the Western Conference Championship and now advance to the NBA Finals.
In the Boston Garden, it looked like the Suns' luck had run out.
Well, Boston blew them out the first 2 games, and it looked like this series was history over. Phoenix didn't have a chance. So down we go to Phoenix, and bingo. The Suns come up and even this series up at 2 games apiece.
For Game 5, the teams returned to Boston, where the Celtics had the building, the fans, and history on their side. All the Suns had was the nerve to think they could walk in there and win.
The thing that people remember most, and rightly so, is that 5th game.
In the first quarter, the Celtics showed the Suns how big game basketball was played.
This is Boston Celtic basketball at its best. The Suns have turned it over 4 early times. Woods with a beautiful play, took it from the sky.
We had that game in the pocket because we had about a 20-point lead in the first half, I believe.
Sobers gives it up on the turnover. Silas has got you-know-who, Hondo. Devastating first quarter.
We had to call 3 timeouts in the first quarter, but I'll say one thing about that 76 team. They refused to quit.
Down 16 at the half, the Suns began their charge.
Ever so slowly, the Phoenix Suns clawing their way back into this game.
By the end of 3 quarters, Boston's lead was dwindling. The Suns were beginning to run the Celtics out of their own building. But would they run out of time?
You are watching a team that finished only 2 games above 500 in the regular season, battle for a championship.
With a minute left and down by 5, Coach John McLeod looked to his one player with Celtic pedigree to handle the pressure on the parquet floor.
Westball turnaround. 94-91, Phoenix alive with 52 seconds and a 3-point Boston lead. So that was a big basket by Westball. Kept the team in it, and Westball knocks it away. Get around behind Charlie Scott. Here's Paul back down the other way. Paul Westball puts it in.
Westfall's scoring spree sent the game into overtime. There, with the score still tied, the Suns again tried to stare down history as the Celtics drew up the last play for their veteran playoff hero.
Goes to Havlicek. In the corner. Fake. Fires. No good.
A second 5-minute OT. And still the Phoenix Suns refuse to turn into pumpkins.
For the Cinderella Suns, midnight was again fast approaching as the Celtics controlled the second overtime. Boston's fans were ready to finally celebrate, but Phoenix had other ideas.
Carr gets it into Van Arsdale. Van trying to drive. Shoot from the corner. It's good. 15 seconds to go. Phoenix down by 1. Here's a steal by Westball to Van Arsdale. To Perry. It won't go. Perry gets the rebound. Perry from the corner. Scores it. Curtis Perry scores it. 5 seconds to go. Oh, I don't believe it. I do not believe it.
The Celtics drew up the potential game winner. And although he had missed at the end of the first overtime, John Havlicek would again get the call for Boston.
The guy we were most concerned about was Havlicek. Well, now be a son of a gun if he didn't break loose.
Havlicek, he's coming around on the left. Shot is good! His shot is good, and that's it! Ball game's over! His shot is good!
When he hit the shot, we thought the ball game was over.
The ball game is over! John Havlicek won it!
We were actually in the locker room thinking we had won it.
They say there's 1 second left! They say there's 1 second left!
When Havlicek made the shot, I looked up at the clock and saw there were a couple seconds left. I asked Richie Powers if we called the timeout, if we could still advance the ball to half court.
Do they have a timeout left, or have they used both of them?
They didn't have any. And they got a technical foul. JoJo White made the technical, but now they could advance the ball to midcourt.
Westfall's gamble gave Phoenix a final shot to tie the game.
And now we come to the end of the second overtime with a couple of the most incredible turnarounds I have ever seen. Won't start until it's touched. They'll have to throw it up. Garherd turnaround shot in the air. It's good. It's tied again. I don't believe it.
It was like a miracle. Something happened and it just stunned. Myself, I was stunned until the next day.
Garherd ties it. We'll go to the third overtime. Somebody up there is on our side.
It's going through your mind, you know, that so-and-so made that shot. Why in the world didn't we do something?
By the third overtime, notions of strategy gave way to hopes for survival. The Suns' Alvin Adams had fouled out, while the Celtics lost 3 starters to fouls, including Dave Cowens. But into the void stepped number 30, Glenn McDonald, a seldom used reserve and an unlikely hero in this unlikeliest of games.
Underneath to McDonald, a fall away. Glenn McDonald!
Again, it was Westfall who wouldn't let Phoenix die.
21 seconds, it's a 4-point lead, and McDonald lost it. 17 seconds, Sobers has got Westfall open. It's 2 points again, and 12 seconds.
Westfall had time for just one more miracle.
We got a double team and they threw it over to, I think, Don Nelson, and so I knew that his next pass would have to be up the sideline.
Nelson gives a dart. Westfall's got a hand on it.
He put a little bit more on the pass than I hoped he did. If he would arch it a little more, I think I could have tipped it back to our guy.
That final miracle never happened, and Boston won the most outrageous game in NBA Finals history. The Phoenix Suns still haven't won a championship, but on that day, they proved that basketball glory doesn't only go to the winners.
The triple overtime, probably the greatest sporting event that I've ever been around.